David, would you be willing to let me know who is all in the room that I might not be able to see for the minutes?
Yep, absolutely. Right now it's Council Les, Calvin, and I believe Councillor Ray will be joining in just a few moments here.
Does that make us Council Light?
Thank you. And just yourself and Mr. Dewar for staff?
That's correct, yep.
Thank you.
Gladys, can you confirm that you're able to hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
We most certainly can. Thank you.
Sorry, Gladys, what time are you leaving the meeting?
I need to leave about 6. I'm in the building I need to be in, so I can stay here till virtually 6 o'clock.
Okay, well, near the end, I'll maybe give you some time to say anything you think that we haven't gotten to yet, if you have any strong opinions, so that we know what you think before you leave.
Thank you.
Good evening. I will call this meeting to order at 5:01. First of all, the town of Smithers acknowledges the Gidimt'en clan and the Wet'suwet'en people on whose unceded traditional territory we live, work, and play. The public is notified that the meeting is being recorded and webcast globally, a notice of which has been placed on the bulletin board outside the council chambers, although we don't have anybody here. Council, can I have a motion for approval agenda? Councillor Bucama, all those in favor? It's carried unanimously. All right, so we have a report from Ms. McKinley with a lot of information in it. I circulated something. I just thought it might be easier to get through if we kind of approach things kind of one at a time. And that way, hopefully we can keep our thoughts focused. Because I'm not at my best today, so I thought it would be better to be focused a little more. So that being said, Ms. McKinley, did you want to introduce your report at all before we dig in?
I'm okay unless David would like to add anything. Thank you.
Thank you, but not at this time, Chair.
Thank you. All right, so council, on page 2, there are other topics that may be considered. So first off is continue advocacy regarding ongoing RBA funding. And my thought on that, and the mayor may have different, is just in the past when we've gone into meetings, it's the first thing we mention. Thank you for the RBA. We'd like it to continue. How does council feel about that approach? Mayor, Councillor Raven.
No, I actually really appreciate that, rather than having it as a specific item for a report, is just mentioning it to all the ministers, since they all were involved in the process and the benefit that it has had in our community.
Councillor Leonard.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's much more effective to just communicate that and give our thanks for the funding, and maybe we can plug that we hope it continues. But I think Gladys does a good job, or Mayor Attrell does a good job, fitting that in when we're in our meetings. So I'm happy to have it stay like that.
Mayor Attrell.
Thanks, Councillor Ray. I agree with that, and I think perhaps into the thank you verbiage, we could include a highlight of what the money's been used for. The RBA committee, the steering committee, has been working down that path as well, and there's lots of great information on the RBA website about the projects, and of course our staff know our projects, but a thank you. If there's a different message by UBCM, I don't know that there would be, but a thank you, and here's what we've done with the money.
Councillor Bucama.
Yeah, of those 3 items listed on page 2, RBA funding certainly is at the top of my list by a mile. Yeah.
Mr. Shorter, do you want a motion to include that in every meeting, or are you okay just hearing what we've said?
I think we can just take this as direction.
Next is the consideration of the request from the city of Prince George to go sponsor their Northern Rural Homeowners Grant Resolution, and we do have a letter from a local citizen. How does council feel about that? I know we let it pass before. Councillor Raven.
I would actually need a little bit more information, because in the part where it says, be it resolved that UBCM strongly urges the province to explain and reverse the decision. From what I looked up, the explanation was it was tied to the carbon tax. And then when the carbon tax got repealed, that's what they said, though that was what they said the reasoning was. So I just was looking for clarification if that actually was the reason, or if this is going a bit deeper.
We don't have that information.
Thank you, Chair. No, we wouldn't have that information available to us, as it was a decision made by the provincial government. We would have to inquire further to understand if it truly is that.
Yeah, I actually think that because we let it go by last time, that would have been our chance to ask. Oh, I see Mayor Attrell has her hand up. Go ahead.
I don't actually have the information on that piece. I just think, you know, my memory of what we said the last time is that we would enable, or we would permit, as of course we always do, individuals to offer support. I don't know if it's too late because we dealt with it last time, but I guess I've had time to think about it, and supporting it, or whatever the language is there that I can't see even though it's right in front of me, co-sponsor is fine. Like, I would be fine with that, and otherwise I'd be happy to support it when the time comes off the floor. So I think it is the direction is good that Prince George has taken.
Seeing no other hands, I think we'll just move on from that one then. If we're not comfortable, and like the mayor said, we can certainly support it on the floor if more information comes. It's hard for me to support it. I mean, I'd love the $200 back in my pocket, but we're not going to get it this year. It's already been taken away, and given the tenuous position the province has and some of the other things we're asking for, I think it's okay for council to just vote our conscience at the commit, or at the oh my god, at UBCM. Okay, so C, further advocacy on behalf of Wet'suwet'en Community Forest, including potential expansion support. Councillor Patterson.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Ray. I would support it just because of how much Wet'suwet'en gives back to the community. I don't know if they're specifically looking for us to do that, but I would absolutely support it if they were interested in us doing that. Thank you.
Councillor Leonard.
Yeah, I also do support this. I think it's something worth advocating for. You know, just for the economic prosperity that brings the community, and as Councillor Patterson pointed out, Wet'suwet'en does support the community so much. So I would definitely love it if it's possible to include it in a meeting.
Mayor Attrell.
Yeah, I'm going to concur with this. I think we were just asked for support. It is something that the ministry also supports. So this seems like one where we could be asking for what everybody thinks is a good idea, and just giving more credence to the request from our community for forest if we're able to have a meeting with the minister. So I definitely support this one.
Councillor Beekma.
Yeah, I would definitely be in support as well, especially in light of some of the Wet'suwet'en information we received at a fairly recent council meeting.
Councillor Raven.
And I'm in agreement as well, and just highlighting the fact that since there are so many government programs and grants that are being cut down, people are going to rely more and more on those community grants more, I think. So if we can get it increased, that would be fantastic.
So I think here would be a good place for a motion to include it in the minister requests. Go ahead.
Thank you very much, Deputy Mayor Ray. One consideration is that as the Town of Smithers and Village of Telco are both shareholders in the Wet'suwet'en Community Forest, seeking to work with the Village of Telco and have both propose this to ministers may be a positive, may be seen as a positive effort.
And do you think that it would be coordinatable for us to attend the same meeting together?
That is something that we would have to look into, but it is very possible. Alternatively, it would likely be possible to have a representative from the Village of Telco join that meeting.
Mayor Attrell.
Thanks, Councillor Ray. I do think it's possible. In previous meetings, we've been able to invite, you know, our MLA. I know with the regional district, invitations are extended to others, even other regional districts who have a common interest. So I don't know why it wouldn't be possible to invite a representative from the village of Telkwa to this meeting if we got one. If they have the time to come, you know, it's kind of our meeting. No, I'm very supportive, and if a motion is needed, I'm happy to make one that we include a request to the forest minister for this topic, and that we follow up with an invite to the village of Telkwa to join us.
Okay. No, we don't need a seconder. Did you still want to speak? Okay, anybody else? All those in favor? That's carried unanimously. Okay, so I think maybe at this time, no, let's move on to the Ministry of Health. So we have 5 possible topics and we have to get rid of 2 and then try and, if I recall correctly, we have to try and prioritize them as well. Is that correct?
Prioritization isn't as critical. Generally speaking, the ministers will let us know what they think we should speak to them about if they disagree.
So I'll open the floor. Councillor Buchma.
The 3 priorities for me from the health list would be the new hospital, an update on the long-term care home, and integrated health supports for the Heart and Hearth initiative.
That actually brings up a question that I had through to staff. Is Heart to Hearth not already include funding for services?
Our understanding is yes, and that is part of the program. There's the Hearth side of it, which is the physical shelter, and then the Heart side of it is, I forget what the acronym stands for, but essentially creating more services to support individuals that are experiencing homelessness. We do know that they are presently going through the hiring process for some additional supports for the town of Smithers. I believe it's 2 additional individuals they'll be looking to hire here. But that's kind of the extent of what I can comment on.
So just council hearing that, just maybe we can keep that in mind going forward. Councillor Buchma.
Yeah, and the reason why I had it in my list is from time to time, it's come up that there's a fear that there won't be enough of those specialists in town, but maybe there will be.
I got Mayor Attrell and then Councillor Patterson.
Thanks, Councillor Ray. It's going to come out a bit convoluted, and I'm sorry about that. I've been trying to make sense of it. I don't disagree with what Councillor Buchma has said, and I'm wondering if there's a way, if I start with the Heart and Hearth, similar to our thoughts with the RBA, if we're able to achieve a meeting on Heart and Hearth follow-up, it includes an opportunity to say thank you, because we'll be a little bit further down the road. We'll know how that's progressing. And to link what we anticipate in additional supports through Heart and Hearth with the ongoing advocacy we've had. Somewhere in here, there's the one about increased addiction supports at BVDH. So Heart and Hearth, when it's operating, should take a little pressure off the people unhoused. At the same time, if people are requiring the use of the detox at BVDH, there's just one, and we all know the challenge with that. Having one bed without the right services attached to the hospital takes an RCMP member out. So linking the thank you with Heart and Hearth, the update on where we are, with the need for those sort of increased complex care, including detox services in the community, to make this a bit more seamless. So if someone needs help, they can actually get the help. So might be cheating, but I'm trying to sort of throw 2 into 1. Yeah, anyway, and then actually Heart and Hearth comes out of Ministry of Housing though, so I don't know, maybe I've made it even more blurry. I'm gonna stop now for a bit.
Hey, Councillor Patterson.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'm going to pick up on that blurriness. So we're going to keep going, keep the blur going. I can't help but look at these and think about the bigger picture around, I'm going to call it integrated health services for all. So I think about the long-term seniors care, the housing development that will go in next door, plus the Heart and Hearth. I just can't help but question where they're going to get these people from. So there's a part of me that wonders, and pardon me, Deputy Mayor Ray, I'll shift gears and just say the first piece is absolutely the hospital. That would be my number one. But I would actually support more of these, or pardon me, the safe and accessible patient transportation, pardon me, in the interim of not having a hospital. We keep asking, we keep getting denied. But I would actually nix integrated health supports for supportive housing, Heart and Hearth, and additional addictions beds for BVDH. I'm thinking that the long-term care facility, I'd be interested in hearing from Her Worship on whether or not she could have a one-on-one with the province on that one, but shift it to what's the province's plan to find the resources to adequately manage all these facilities. I think it's going to be a huge undertaking, and I have serious concerns about where they're going to find the people to do that. So I think I've just added to the blur, but so to recap, my priority would be hospital, in the interim, supports for people to be able to access the care that they need. And the third would actually be having a conversation with the province writ large around the integrated health services for all these new facilities that we're going to have in the next 5 years. And then propose, unless Her Worship feels like we absolutely need it, the long-term care facility. Thank you.
Councillor Leonard.
I'm going to be short and sweet and also pick up on that. I hopefully am a bit clearer. Number one is the hospital. There's no question. Number two, I would like the update on the long-term care facility. Number three, I have the additional addiction beds at the hospital. And I guess my reasoning for that, and I hear like what the mayor's saying and what Councillor Patterson are saying, and I like the idea maybe of trying to integrate a couple of the, you know, the health supports with the addiction beds. I don't know if we can combine them, but I think it's important to increase that service at the hospital because we clearly need it in all communities anyway, but we do need it here. And yeah, I'll leave it there for now.
Councillor Raven.
Bring on the blur. No. So I liked where Mayor Atchell is going with the integrated health services and then being able to tie in the beds at the hospital. I think that actually does make sense. The other thing that I think might be able to make sense, and thank you to this conversation to kind of get me there. We've been advocating for a new hospital forever, from what it seems like. And even that health meeting that I was just at with the community leaders, I brought it up, and then the staff that were there, they were really good. They said the same things that we've been told, to my knowledge, for the last 4 years. So I'm wondering if we still advocate for the new hospital, but maybe tie in the patient transportation as an interim measure. So like we say, hey, we need a new hospital. They're going to say, yes, we agree you need a new hospital. You're in the queue. And you're like, hey, you know, in the meantime, if we try to just tie in that the health bus needs to work in the meantime till we get a new hospital, that would be fantastic. And then the long-term care update, I think, is just well needed. I think we keep seeing a lot of stuff just kind of mentioned online, but no actual clear, this is on time and on track. And I think that that would provide some clarity and some assurance for people.
Okay, so one thing is the chair first, and then I'll throw in my opinions, and then I see you, Mayor Atchell, is that this is a 15-minute meeting and we can't get too tricky. We're lucky if we get 3 in. And as much as it's complex and we would like more of everything, we don't have the time to ask for more of everything. So my opinions, the hospital, you have to be the squeaky wheel. If you stop squeaking, that's when they sneak in and just make it final that it's not our hospital. Same with the long-term care. We have 2 other ones that have to go ahead. And I actually think, you know, one thing I heard last Wednesday, Thursday, whenever the meeting at Muheim was from people that are like, you're forgetting about, we're focusing on the homeless, we're focusing on this. And I think that the patient transportation is something that actually benefits everybody in the community, homeless included. Because even if we get a new hospital, that transportation needs to be there. We're not going to have the same specialists that Terrace is. We're probably unlikely to have an MRI machine in our new hospital. So those are my three. So as I'll go to Mayor Attrell again, because she didn't really put her complete votes in.
That's because she was confused. Maybe a little bit better now. I'm just gonna comment on the timeline for the long-term care facility. So I actually did try to reach out to Providence today, so I will update council if I hear anything different. The last time I spoke to Providence Living, our timeline is the same. 2028 construction, 2030 move-in, so nothing has actually changed. Raising it and gaining extra surety is fine, but the timeline remains. Regarding hospital, so I mean, I would love to see a new hospital. I think there is a reality this year, considering the financial position of the province, that I'm gonna end up arguing both sides of this. We do need a new hospital. It needs to be on the list. But we're not gonna get that this year. So I guess I'm leaning toward think we could move the needle this year, and that might be something operational, like increase in the addiction beds at the hospital. That's an operational cost. It might be possible. And I've split out my thinking on Heart and Hearth in that perhaps the meeting ought to be actually with the Minister of Housing to look at where we are with Heart and Hearth at that point. It does enable us to say thank you for it. And then also to request an aggressive timeline on the supportive housing project. So the two things we have out there are the Heart and Hearth getting delivered well with all the supports it needs, followed up by the supportive housing. So we see this under Ministry of Health, but I'm just suggesting that that would be maybe a better direct to the Minister of Housing, which is where those two projects came from. And then I could be persuaded to any of the others. I don't disagree we need the hospital. I'm thinking we could set that one aside for this year. We could try to push the timeline on the long-term care, though I think it's settled and those dates haven't changed. So it's the additional care beds and the transportation. So if I thought of new ones where we might be able to get operational support, it would be the transportation and the additional addiction beds. Hopefully that made some sense.
Okay, does anybody have anything to add after what they heard from Mayor Attrell? Councillor Patterson.
Well, if that would take one of them off the list and punt it to Ministry of Housing, that's great. I'm still hung up on this. Like, I like the language around the expedition and the construction of the Bulkley Valley District Hospital, around all the staffing that's going to be needed for all of these projects, but I haven't heard anyone else in supportive of it. I have a motion. I'd like to make it just to see if people would be in support, but I have serious concerns with where we're going to find the staff to manage all these facilities. So that's the crux of what it will be. But with that, it sounds like, again, Bulkley Valley District Hospital would be my number one long-term care facility. And then the third would be the safe and accessible patient transportation. Thanks.
Councillor Leonard.
Just, sorry, clearing my mouth. My throat in the microphone. Just based on what Mayor Attrell just said about the long-term care facility, I'd be willing to take that off because she's being told the timeline isn't changing. And then I'd be willing to do the hospital, the addiction beds, and patient transportation.
Councillor Raven.
Yeah, no, I really appreciate this discussion and actually, it has actually pared down my list to actually reflect that as well. So BVDH, the whole hospital, and then the transportation of patients, and then the beds for addictions at BVDH.
Councillor Buchanan.
I'm comfortable with those three as well being our priorities.
Okay, I'm gonna throw an opinion into the mix there that we only have 25 beds in the hospital. Are we taking away a bed to give to addictions? And again, I feel just because we got an update saying it's still on track doesn't mean that we don't continue to hold the people at like the minister accountable for that decision. Because the minute we let our foot off the gas, that's when we lose things, I think. And I don't want to get my opinions muddying things up. I'm still trying to chair too, but really at the end of the day, I think our advocacy needs to be for what benefits the most people. And the other thing I wanted to add is that we haven't made a decision on our heart to hearth yet. That decision's still before us. And I'm not sure if if it's hard, we could always add that Minister of Housing for heart to hearth and then cancel it if we choose not to subscribe to it. But anyways, Councillor Patterson, because there's no motions on the floor, if you want to test your motion, is it going to change the meetings with the Minister of Health, or is it something else entirely? So but it is regarding the Minister of Health. Yeah, we'll give it a try. Oh. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I just saw she had her hand there. Okay. That the Ministry of Health and other ministries work together to provide an overview of how they will provide the community of Smithers with the necessary staffing for the following proposed health services, both the long-term care facility and supportive housing project on Alfred Avenue.
Okay, we don't need a seconder. Council on that motion. Mayor Attrell.
Yeah, thanks, Chair Ray. I don't, I agree with where Councillor Patterson's going. My question really is whether that's bound up, Councillor Patterson, in a request to a minister, or are you suggesting we start that kind of inquiry now?
Thank you for the question, Your Worship. And perhaps it goes back to Deputy Mayor Ray's earlier question if I tie it to the Ministry of Health. But yes, to answer your question, I think we need to start that inquiry now. And the reason why I mentioned that is some of the work that I've been doing with community safety, well-being, and other organizations, as I'm sure many at the table have, is just this constant narrative around the capacity or lack thereof that we have in the community, significant lack of capacity. And Deputy Mayor Ray actually nailed it for me. And the reason why I didn't bring forward the addictions bed, it's not that because I don't desperately want that for people that I know and love. It's just the hospital is being run absolutely ragged, especially with other closures that we see in the north. I didn't realize people are being shipped here. So there's a part of me that just thinks, even with these future proposals, how are we going to find the people if we're already struggling with the resources that we have? So it was a long-winded response, apologies, but
Back to you, Mayor Attrell.
Yeah, thanks. And I've forgotten the first part of Councillor Patterson's comment, the who it was directed to. But I think making an inquiry or sending letters off raising that concern like now ahead of UBCM would make sense. We might get some, a direction or some sort of thought process back from the province about how this might work. We are hearing, specific to Heart and Hearth that something will be put in place to support that. So generally I can support where Councillor Patterson's going, and we might need to, figure out who that's being directed to. I think she said, but I can't quite remember. But I think I would support that sort of inquiry to happen now rather than trying to craft it into a UBCM minister meeting right now.
Hey, Counselor Raven.
So when I was at the Community Leaders Northern Health meeting, recruitment and retention was actually what we spent half the time talking about. And Northern Health is actively recruiting across all the colleges. They've increased the bed counts at our seats rather, sorry, at Coast Mountain College and Terrace. They've increased the RN program, the LPN program. There's the program where you can become a home care support worker. You get paid to train for the 2 year or like for the entire program, plus they pay for your education. So they are really focusing on attracting, recruiting, and retaining from the North for the North. That's actually their slogan because people from the North, obviously, you understand what it's like to live in the North. So I think definitely a letter of inquiry and maybe suggesting a delegation to council would be good. I'm a bit hesitant to have this be a ministers meeting at this point, but I think having a delegation come and share what they have already in place and started. Even UNBC, they have done an incredible amount of work to increase capacity at their programs and also integrating with local clinics to get people to kind of cycle through the North. So they train at UNBC and then they do, you know, a stop in Smithers for 3 months and then Terrace for 3 months and then Rupert's for 3 months kind of thing, just to spread people out. But definitely, I think it's programs that need to have more attention called to them. So I think perhaps, yeah, if we write a letter or ask for delegation, that might be helpful.
Go ahead, Counselor Patterson.
If it pleases the chair, as I don't believe I got a seconder, but there was a great
It's
idea.
committee, you don't need a seconder.
Okay, perfect. So question through to staff, is it appropriate given the approach that Mayor Atchell mentioned that I would either rescind, I don't know what the correct term is, my motion, or replace it or amend it to be the letter?
Mr. Schroeder.
Thank you very much, Deputy Mayor Ray. And to the question, I think just rescinding the motion, pulling it back and replacing it with an alternative motion would be the easiest path forward.
Okay. I just have something to say before you rescind it. And that is, if we promise the citizens of Smithers that we're going to pave a parking lot with gold, that now becomes a town of Smithers and council problem to find the gold. It doesn't, we've made the promise. So we're being promised all sorts of things. And we're saying, well, what about the staffing? That's not an us problem. We've been made the promises. We're going to get the, that's whoever made the promises problem. And that was another thing that came up at you know, who's going to staff this one? And I said, that's a BC housing problem. It's not a council problem. And I think that if we just start throwing up roadblocks to things that people have offered us, that disincentivizes them from finding that help. I mean, we can certainly participate in things like you have them on the Northern Medical Programs Trust. So there is a role for us in there, but I think as a town of Smithers going and saying, well, hey, how are you going to staff all this stuff? What if they go, hey, oh, you're right, and then pull support for all this stuff? So just a caution. So Councillor Patterson, did you want to rescind and then make the motion later on? Okay, so the motion is rescinded for now, and then when we maybe at the end, I'll leave space for you to make that motion, because I think it is, just because I don't agree with it, I think it's a good thing to bring up at this point in time, rather than in a regular council meeting. All right, so I'm hearing broad support for the new hospital. So, oh, Mayor Atchell, sorry.
No, I think I'm probably going where you're going. The only thing I'd say is after listening to all of you, especially you, Councillor Ray, with your don't take the foot off the gas, that I have reconsidered even my comments in long-term care, even though I believe the timeline that I've been told, that I can also be persuaded that the top priorities for us are the hospital and long-term care. And so I hear the wisdom in that. And so if those are put on the floor, I'll support them.
Okay, well, I'll go one at a time. So we'll start with the easiest ones. All those in favor of support of the hospital as staying on. Okay, so that's carried. All those in support of the long-term care being kept on. And those opposed. That carries with Councillor Raven opposed. So there's 2. So the third one, I'm not really 100% sure on. I have a couple of transportations, a couple of addiction beds. Okay, so we've removed heart to heart, though, for sure. Okay, so that means I'm just gonna actually somebody make a motion for the third one because I don't want to direct.
Sorry, Deputy Mayor Ray, move the safe and accessible patient transportation.
Okay, all those in favor of that? And that's carried unanimously. So there's our 3 topics. Thank you, everybody, for that. And I don't think we'll prioritize them. That was hard enough getting the list. My next kind of topic for discussion was, is there anything that's on the list now that we can remove? I'm thinking of the 3 starred ones where at the last one we'd asked for more information and there really isn't much more coming, which would be the Foundry, Crown Council, and the South Slope. And I'm happy, like if we move it, Mr. Schroeder, can I ask, we've also added now the Minister of Housing. Are we less likely to be successful if we just shotgun with, that would be 9 now? Or would we be more likely to be successful if we went down to say 6?
Thank you very much, Deputy Mayor Ray. It's hard to say. The province sort of ebbs and flows how they do their meetings. Some years when they feel meetings will be more effective, they're more willing to take on more. Considering the climate at the provincial government, my assumption would be that they would want to take less meetings, commit to less, and have less sort of open lines on different advocacy topics, just because of, they're in a bit of a challenging place financially.
Yeah, I completely agree with Mr. Schroeder. Additional consideration is that UBCM this year takes place right before the municipal elections. It is anticipated that there is going to be a significant turnover in many communities across the province. And I suspect that the province may recognize that priorities may change as an election comes through too. So my hunch is that they'll be looking to really take focused and strategic meetings with a lot of importance rather than take on a whole variety of different meetings.
So I'm asking this more as a counselor than as a chair. The one that I was interested in, the South Slope, not being a lot more information, but do we already have the technical information on how much the slope's moving per year, et cetera, so that we could, if we did go into a meeting with that we could actually give them hard data to support what we're asking?
So with the report we got back from the South Slope, essentially it tells us it's moving. I think it's very interpretive in terms of how much it is moving. And it's one that we've identified from a staff perspective that there is no immediate course of action to alter this at this point in time. And we have bumped it from on the strategic projects list to, I believe, 2028 or 2029. So it's one that we know there's changes occurring, but there's no immediate solution. We don't know what kind of cost it would be, although we know that cost is going to be significant. And at this point in time, unless council directs otherwise, staff will not be putting additional time towards that project until it's coming up on our strategic projects.
Anybody on council then? So oh, Mayor Attrell, maybe you can save me.
I don't know about that. I wasn't sure if you were moving on or if you're still on South Slope. I was ready to move on, but you can let me know where your thoughts are.
Well, I was actually thinking of making a motion that we remove that from our list of advocacy. Anybody on that? All right, all those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried unanimously. Councillor Bukema.
Councillor Ray, so are we trying to narrow it down to 6? Is that kind of where we're at?
No, I just was thinking of things like that where, you know, we're not actually going for a specific ask, and hearing what Mr. Schroeder said about being fairly focused. There's a couple that I had thought maybe to remove for the same reason, but yeah, I just wanted to do that before we got to the task of trying to prioritize these as well. Councillor Bukema.
Yeah, I did a little bit of thinking before the meeting. Some of the ones that are priorities for me are public safety and solicitor general. And again, to ask for additional provincial RCMP officers. Environment and parks appeals to me, especially the idea of region-specific arsenic levels. I think that would be great for our town if we could get there. And water, land, and resource stewardship, particularly in the area of land transfers, is a priority for me. Those are 3 that jump out. And of course, health is as well.
Mayor Attrell.
Yeah, thanks. Kind of along the same lines as Councillor Bukema. I think I heard you say the Ministry of Housing one, so I support that for the Heart and Hearth and the update on the supportive housing shelter project. Definitely the contaminated lands one, that's a key one for me. And if I'm trying to stick to 3, it would be never letting up on the drum of additional RCMP.
Was that a real hand or? Okay, Councillor Raven.
I'm just keeping up with the 3 that I'd really like to see maintained. I agree 100% with the additional provincially funded RCMP officers. That's something that we desperately need. Smithers has stepped up so much to get more officers here, and it's time for the province to do that. And then as well, the Minister of Environment and Parks, because the ambient temp or levels, not temperature. Whoa, sorry about that. But then the other one that it just really speaks to me is number 4, the Ministry of Emergency Management and Climate Readiness, just with the Emergency Preparedness Fund support and regional ESS and volunteer fire services. It's just been so incredible to watch how they created such a successful program, and then the funding stopped, and it's just that one I would really like to bring up. So those are my top 3.
Councillor Leonard.
So if we're keeping it to our top 3, I'll just throw mine out. Additional RCMP, Crown land transfer, and arsenic levels.
Sorry, what was the third one?
Arsenic levels.
Councillor Batterson.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Ray. I just have a couple questions for staff. At the last meeting, Deputy Hall suggested that we just apply. And I was just curious, my assumption is that we have applied, and are we feeling like it is taking longer than we would like? I just know these things can take time, but if we just recently applied, I just wonder if that couldn't be removed just due to where we are in the process.
Mr. Dewar.
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
For sure.
So,
Sorry, go ahead.
sorry, so you're talking about the Crown Lands?
Yeah, so staff is anticipating to bring that back to council for a general update, I guess, in the next month or so. I think, yeah, I'll just leave it at that.
So if I can jump in then, actually, no, I'll let you finish your, well, I actually, because we keep going back and every time they say apply, I don't want to go back to them unless we have an application. Sorry, Mr. Dewar.
Yeah, so with that, what we're hearing at the staff level is maybe different than what we've heard at the political level in the past. And what we're hearing at the staff level is very much that there needs to be some kind of relationship with the Office of the Wet'suwet'en as we move forward. And that can be formed in a variety of different manners. So I think that's something that we'll have to look into. But what we're hearing at the staff level is it's not quite as straightforward as what we've been previously hearing at the ministerial level.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Ray, and thank you through to staff. So I would be comfortable with removing it because I just feel like unless there's anything specific that we're looking to build on that land, I think we have an incredible new opportunity where we have an Indigenous liaison worker now with the Office of the Wet'suwet'en. We know we're going to be having continued community discussions. I just feel if the application is now in the queue as it wasn't last year, that's great. I just think unless we're being really specific about what it is that we're asking for, I'm comfortable to take this one off the list.
Are you willing to make that motion?
Sure.
Okay, anybody on the motion to remove Walrus for Crown Land? Councillor Raven.
And I believe I actually brought this up when we were first talking about the topics to bring to UBCM, and I said that I was willing to just have this one removed. I just see it as a non-starter. I see the importance of it, but I don't see this as being successful this year. And if we are going to try to be very direct and strategic, this is not one I don't see as a win or a quick win that would actually give us anything besides this exact same outcome that we've had for the last 3 years.
Okay, did you want? Yeah.
Was just going to say that I anticipate that this could be a good one that will probably have some momentum or some movement over the next year. And I could see this being a topic for the 2027 UBCM, certainly.
Yeah, and before I call the question, I just wanted to say too that I think if somewhere in the interim, the Wet'suwet'en and the town come to an agreement on how to go about that and that we're willing to move together, I think we could probably get ourselves a minister meeting anytime we wanted. So all those in favor of removing Walrus? And that's carried unanimously. Oh, was anybody opposed? Oh, Councillor Buchan is opposed. Sorry, I thought I had. Okay. Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Deputy Mayor Ray. So I would be in support of number 4. So that would be the Ministry of Emergency Management and Climate Readiness. I'll be honest, it's not even specific to this particular fund. I would just say more broadly, the lack of grant funding that we're seeing around emergency support terrifies me, just with climate change and how reliant I think we are going to become on these dwindling services. We just talked about land transfer, absolutely slope stabilization for the airport, all the support we can get for the airport.
We removed that one.
Did we remove it? Oh, well, I was outvoted. Sorry, I thought that was the Foundry. The Foundry, I'll wait because I'd be interested to hear from others. But the reason why I was thinking that I would be comfortable with removing it at this time is that given that we're going to be considering building a new library in the coming years, don't quote me on this, but I believe one of the key pieces for the Foundry was actually location. And I know that they're going to be building like a teen section, I believe. Again, don't quote me on that at the library. So I was thinking perhaps there's a partnership opportunity there with that organization if there was a community space. Absolutely arsenic. We already talked about the hospital and we already talked about the long-term care. Thank you.
Okay, so let's talk about the Foundry then, if I hear some support for moving it. This would be through to staff, so there's no additional information at this time. And I apologize, I wasn't at the last meeting. There is actually no pocket of money that we would actually be asking for that Foundry to come from.
Thank you very much, Deputy Mayor Ray. That is correct. There's no update from the organization working on the Foundry. With respect to the pocket of money, that's a little bit more difficult to say, as there likely is a pocket of provincial money that supports the Foundry program. But that budget would be set right now, and again with just the financial position of the provincial government, it may be challenging to broach that topic.
Anybody else on that? So are you willing to make a motion to remove it, Councillor Patterson? Oh, now we have hands.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, given the current environment and the provincial situation, I would rather have the focus be on the hospital long-term care facility. And I'd be happy to let that one go, the Foundry.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Ray. Just I want to be super clear that any type of supports for youth right now in our community, given the tragedy that struck in the whole entire nation, I would just say I want to support whatever comes forward at the table for youth supports. And I like what Councillor Leonard said about the hospital. And then also recognizing that when we talk about the design of the new library, I just want to keep it at the forefront. However, we can support others like Foundry if they're still looking for a space, absolutely in support, but at this time I'll take it off. Thank you.
Okay, so there's a motion to remove the Foundry from the list. Councillor Raven, did you have your hand up?
Yeah, and I can vote in support of this, even though I do have to say is it does kind of hurt my soul. It's mostly because since there hasn't been a design or it's not a real tangible project at the moment, it's more of an idea. That's why I'm willing to take it off at this point, but I definitely know how hard it is for youth in our community. And if you're not part of, certain interest groups, then perhaps, there's not much of a place for them to go. Like if you're a sports kid, you're covered. If you're an arts kid, you're covered. So I know that there's some gaps, but I do think that the new library space will help fill those gaps. So yeah, I will vote in favor of removing it, but this one hurts a little bit.
Else? Councillor Beekman.
Yeah, I agree with Councillor Leonard too. I think the provincial coffers are bare right now. And to me, there's other priorities that are more important than a Foundry right now.
Okay, hearing that, I'll call the question. All those in favor of removing the Foundry? Any opposed? That's carried unanimously. All right, Mayor, Councillor Leonard, I can see the mayor in the back.
Everybody's the mayor tonight. I'm just looking for a list check. Maybe I'm getting confused on what's.
Okay, I'll have what I have left is the Ministry of Health for our three that we've chosen, Minister of Public Safety for the officers, Attorney General for support for Crown Council, Emergency and Climate for ESS, Environment for Arsenic, Minister Housing for Heart and Hearth and Alfred Street, and the Ministry of Forests for Wet'suwet'en Forest. Is that, I'm willing to be corrected. I think that's all we've got left now. Mayor Atchell.
Yeah, thanks, Councillor Ray. So I wonder if it would be in order to try to move a couple of those forward. I agree with the list that you have left, or perhaps I'll just repeat the things I'm in favor of since I'll have to leave. So if we're trying to keep it short, I will support the Ministry of Housing on Heart and Hearth and the supportive housing and shelter. The arsenic issue, I think it's Ministry of Environment, and Solicitor General for RCMP. And if we're doing more than that, then I will add the emergency services. So however you want to go ahead with those. And I won't interrupt again, but I will sign off here in a couple of minutes.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to bring up the Attorney General. I'm not 100% sure, since we're now fully staffed. I understand we don't want to get into that situation again, but at the same time, I'm not 100% sure if our ask is a fairly solid ask. I won't make the motion as a chair, but how do others feel about that one? Councillor Bukema.
I mean, I still like it to be there. I mean, I think we have stepped up to the plate to fund up to 11 officers. And what is the province doing? 5?
No, sorry, the Attorney General is about Crown Council.
Oh, okay. And doesn't it say they are fully staffed now with Crown Council?
Yeah, and now the ask is to change to make sure essentially that it doesn't happen again.
To seek budget enhancement. So essentially add more to that office so that they are no longer relying on Crown Council from outside of the region, or other essentially Crown Council on call that they can bring in to support this office.
Yeah, okay, so if we're asking for more, then I think we have a specific ask. I think I'm okay with that then. Councillor Raven.
Yeah, I would actually like to keep this one on the list because I think that the town has done a fantastic job supporting the RCMP to the best of our ability by adding additional officers. And then I know the Crown Council is doing everything they can, but making sure that they have the budget to be able to do what they need to do within their timelines is incredibly important because it works together. So I would like to see it remain. Of course, just because we asked for the meeting doesn't mean we'll get it anyways, but I think it's just good that they even understand that we're aware of the situation and monitoring it.
Okay, and I didn't make the motion. Sorry, my short-term memory is suffering lately. I didn't make the motion today. Okay. Either Ms. McKinley or Mr. Schroeder, can you speak to the importance of us prioritizing these?
Thank you very much, Deputy Mayor Ray. Really, this just gives us a better sense of how we can, better work with the province and make sure that the different meetings that council is requesting are reflective of your desires for meetings. It really just helps us work with the provincial government a little bit better.
So they don't require a list of priorities prioritized then?
No, it's not a requirement.
Okay, I misunderstood that. Is it council's? How does council feel about just leaving it then and not going through that exercise? Councillor Raven.
Yeah, no, I'm fine with the not prioritizing. I think that, yeah, staff will make the request and then we see what happens.
Councillor Patterson.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Ray. I think you made a great point earlier, and I just want to confirm where we landed on that. The continue/revised around the integrated health support services for Heart and Hearth, given that we don't know what the outcome is going to be. Did we decide we were going to remove that?
I think maybe for now we can leave it on the list. I think we decide before the requests are due.
Okay.
So we could leave it on for now since it is a possibility and we have to keep an open mind either way. So that was more what I was concerned about, that we weren't predetermining that we were going to do it. Go ahead.
And thank you, Deputy Mayor Ray. If I have a proposal for a new one, is now the appropriate time to mention that?
Absolutely.
Okay, excellent. So every single item that we've talked about on this list, whether it's the hospital or Crown Council or Heart and Hearth staff or others, all need childcare. As we all know, we have significant issues with childcare within the community. The northern affordability benchmarks that the province set for the northern region is the lowest in the province by a disproportional amount. I'd like to figure out why, and I'd like us to advocate for higher rates. And for those who don't know, I've talked a little bit about it before. The benchmarks really set the standard for what I can charge families and what the province will give back. No one in their right mind would enter into childcare in this economy right now. I can promise you that. So I'd like to figure out what we can do to help to support childcare. So my motion would be that council meet with the Ministry of Children and Family Development to advocate for higher rates under the Northern Affordability Benchmark. Thank you.
Okay, before, it's a motion, it'll be on the floor. I'd just like to speak with Mr. Schroeder, Mr. Dewar for a second before we move forward on this. Thank you for indulging us, council. So to the motion, anybody want to speak to it? Sorry, Councillor Raven.
I believe that this was already brought forward at some point in our initial UBCM discussions or something similar to it. Yes or no, maybe? Okay, yeah, so for the NCLGA, and we didn't support it then, and I'm still of the same mind that I was then, so I'm not in support of this motion at this time.
Anybody else? Councillor Leonard.
It's difficult for me to support or not, just without having more information, I think. So just thoughtfully, I'm interested in learning more and hearing more, but I don't know if this is the right venue and the right advocacy at this time. So I'm unsure on whether I would support the motion right now.
Councillor Bikula.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. I don't feel like I know enough about it to be able to just vote tonight. I definitely need more information.
Through to staff, because we still have a couple actual council meetings, and council does have to ratify this. If Councillor Patterson could provide us with more background and information, would we be able to then consider it at the same time as we consider what we've decided tonight?
Yeah, thank you very much, Deputy Mayor Ray. Yes, I think that would work. That could work fairly well. There is the opportunity to, at the May 26th meeting, have some information available and then have this come packaged up to the June 9th regular meeting of council. so that yeah, so that there essentially be no gap, and not to interpret around this too much, but this could almost act as a a notice of motion with additional information coming to the 26th potentially, or whatever works best for Councillor Patterson.
But
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Rain. Actually, following the last conversation we had about this not being appropriate for NCLG, but potentially for a minister's meeting, I did do research, so reach out to the Child Development Center and other organizations within the community. So all that information is readily available. So we're good to go.
so as far as tonight goes, how will we record this? Can we postpone the motion until May 26th? Or should we just drop it and Councillor Patterson can make the motion on the 26th when the additional information's?
Yeah, I think what we can do is rescind the motion, and then it can come forward as a notice of motion at the May 26th.
So rescinded. Thank you.
Okay. So Ms. McKinley, the motion has been rescinded. Thanks. Anybody else with any new ones? Okay, so that leaves us with 7 and a potential, sorry, that leaves us with 7 and a potential 8th. So I think that's a fairly workable amount, thinking if we're successful in all 8. I'm not sure who's all going, but I think we should be able to divide and conquer if need be.
I believe everyone is doing it. So Councillor Hubbard.
So just to kind of tie things up at the end here, there is a recommendation at the start. Did you want that moved, or have we done motions in the meantime and we've taken care of everything?
I think generally council's taking care of things. The motion could be made with the exclusion of the Ministry of Health insert. Recommend to council that the list be approved for submissions to the provincial government and continue refinement.
Okay. Does somebody want to move what Councillor Raven moves that? Is that okay with you, Ms. McKinley? Okay. All right. All those in favor? And that is carried. And I think that's everything. Just want to make sure I check my agenda. Oh, sorry, the 5.2 from the city of Dawson Creek, asking for co-sponsorship of their access to publicly funded medical services. It's the pleasure of council. Mr. Schroeder.
Thank you very much, Deputy Mayor Ray. This is a continuation of the conversation. Council did provide support for the proposed NCLGA motion, I believe is where it went first. And we brought this back for council consideration on whether council would like to send a letter to supplement that.
Sorry, my apologies. I was so focused on the first part, I forgot to read this part of the agenda. My apologies. Okay, council, anybody want to make a motion to send that letter? Councillor Leonard moves that we send the joint advocacy letter. Any discussion? Or I guess we're recommending to council that we send that. Any discussion? All those in favor? And that's carried unanimously. All right. Anything else tonight from staff? Oh, sorry, Councillor Patterson, go ahead.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Ray. Just the letter, if we could discuss on the staffing.
Yes, thank you for reminding me. Go ahead.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Ray, and thank you to Mayor Attrell for the suggestion around a letter. I think if her worship is willing to have it come from the office of the mayor, that's the way in which I'll make the motion. And really just to hear from other counselors on their thoughts. I hear about how we're struggling with the hospital and with the current long-term care facility that we have for seniors. And I just saw the amount of work that came from the municipality and how we helped to support the temporary winter shelter. And while I completely agree with what Deputy Mayor Ray had said, I just think, yes, it's outside of our core mandate, but our core infrastructure, like the hospital, our CMP supports, our communication staff, our CAO, and all of the other support staff in the community become impacted if we don't have the necessary resources to adequately manage those spaces. So maybe I'll just make the motion. So did you want to say something first?
No, if you could repeat or make the motion, yeah.
Move that staff prepare a letter to come from the office of the mayor to the Ministry of Health and other appropriate ministries with an inquiry on how the province proposes to work together to provide the necessary staffing for the newly proposed health services in Smithers, including the long-term care facility and housing support on Alfred Avenue.
Are you able to provide that in writing afterwards? Okay. Did you get that, Ms. McKinley?
Yes, I'm going to actually ask Councillor Patterson if she doesn't mind to provide that in writing after the meeting as well, so we can wordsmith it a little bit. Thank you.
Absolutely, thank you.
Okay, on that motion. Councillor Leonard.
Well, I understand the importance and I agree that that we are struggling with capacity. I also agree with Councillor Ray or Chair Ray that maybe the letter could be sent after the shovel's in the ground. In business, if you need people, you have to go out and find them. And I think it is Northern Health's responsibility. It's Providence Health's responsibility. Albeit, I get that we can be supportive as a municipality and a council. So while I think I will vote against this today, I'm not opposed to maybe addressing it at some point in the future when we actually, really believe that this is going to happen for us.
Mr. Schroeder.
Thank you very much, Deputy Mayor Ray. I will acknowledge I am aware of a program through Providence Living where they have partnered with the College of New Caledonia to essentially provide scholarships or pay for the enrollment costs, tuition fees for licensed practical nurses with the explicit requirement that they work for Providence Living for a period of time. This is specifically for the Prince George project, but I imagine that they would look to use a similar approach for future projects in Quesnel and Smithers.
Thank you, Mr. Schroeder. I saw that your dream job awaits and I thought, uh-oh. Councillor Raven.
Yeah, so again, I agree with the intent of the letter, but just, I guess, being part of the Smithers Health Committee, I get to hear regular updates, and we've been very blessed. Like at our hospital, we have local staff. They're not bringing in travel nurses. So even though they're not at 100%, staffing levels, we're doing quite well, and we have very robust staffing here. Also, there is, so for Northern Health, there's the HCAP program, and that is the Health Career Access Program. That's where you can become a home care support worker. And again, they pay for the programming, they pay you to take the programming. So there are a lot of supports that are happening. And I think this is definitely on Northern Health's radar because they understand that they're going to need a lot more staff. They also understand that bringing people in from out of town costs them a lot more money. So, yeah, I think I agree with the intent, but I'm not going to support the motion at this time.
Yeah, I'm not going to support it for the reasons I stated, although One opportunity for us is if we do vote to participate in Heart and Hearth, then the decision is made, and we can certainly, when we're meeting with that minister, say, hey, we have concerns. We're glad we signed on, but we have concerns, because I think that's once it's there and we're solidly in there, I think that's definitely a time to bring it up. All right, so hearing nothing, all those in favor, sorry, and those opposed, and that is voted down with councillors Leonard, Raven, Ray, and Bucama opposed. Thank you. All right, anything else from staff that I may have missed? Okay, so I'll be looking for a motion to adjourn. Councillor Raven, all those in favor? And that's carried unanimously. Thank you, Ms. McKinley, for zooming in. Thank the mayor when you see her too, please.